What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome into our Tuesday live shows. We're so happy you chose to join this nice Tuesday evening, afternoon, wherever it might be where you are. We're happy you're here with us because we got a good show for you today. Got some exclusive interviews, got some amazing things to talk about. And listen, it's NFL Combine Week, so we have some fun stuff to show you. Before we do that, though, I want you to get this chat rolling by shouting out your city. Where are you watching from today? Because I know we got a bunch of people hanging out with us. So where are y'all watching from? Let me know. We got Brian posting there getting some questions. I love it. By the way, use hashtag Chiefs, and we can put some questions on the show. Tony Fuentes from El Paso. Lance Bradley saying Vegas. Mike Nintendo Master from Wake Forest. Hey, Demon Angels, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Brian Post from Ohio. Let's go. Where are y'all watching from? I want to know where my Chiefs numbers are. I want to know where all across the globe y'all sit. Get down in the comment section and let me know. It's going to be a good time right here on the Chiefs Report. I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Richard Martin from Waukene, Kansas. Waukene. Like it. I like it, man. Waukene is a good one. Shout out to everybody hanging out with us, man. It's going to be a good Tuesday. We got some live exclusive interviews coming up, amazing things all headed your way. So make sure you're hanging out with us because we have a bunch of amazing stuff right here on the Chiefs Report. Demon Angels from Connecticut. Let's go, man. Let's go. Appreciate it. Lamoni Robinson from Miller, Missouri is hanging out with us. I love it. I love it. All right, I do have a question for you guys. I know it's NFL Combine Week. Do you enjoy it? I got to be honest. I kind of think it's stupid now. Because, nobody there really matters. Drake May's not throwing. Caleb Williams isn't throwing. Jane Daniels isn't throwing. It's just a media event at this point. There's not really a lot of things around that. I mean, there's just a lot of things that have really gone downhill. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to be participating. Malik Neighbors. I mean, that's your top 5 picks potentially right there, all just not being at the Combine. Kind of just silly, but who knows? Do y'all enjoy it? Y for yes, N for no. Tony says yes. Lance says better than nothing. I agree. It is better than nothing. And then we got Mike Nintendo Master saying, I guess. All right. Well, we'll make a video on that. Yeah. Breaking news. Kind of. L'Jarius Sneed is, we're probably going to use the franchise tag on him. It's kind of what it seems like. Oh, he deleted the post. I just pressed it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, he sent it to you. Yeah, we'll make a video on that, I guess. We can make it. Let's just. Why don't we go to the Brett Veach interview and we can kind of build it and we can play it and we can do it in live. While the Veach interview is going, we can kind of super say it. Breaking news here, Chat Sports. So L'Jarius Sneed looks like he's going to be franchise tagged. We're going to give you all that stuff right here on the Chiefs Report in just a second. But we got some exclusive interviews coming up. We just want to go to that, actually. Just go straight to that. Yeah, let's just go straight to that. We can kind of super say in this building process. Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to show you some Veach audio, video from earlier today. He spoke with the NFL Combine. Yeah, let's play that. We appreciate all y'all hanging out, and we're going to have a cool video for you just after this.
Is that we're impacted day of the parade. Certainly a heartbreaking and tragic day for us. Our organization has been in contact with the families, and we will continue to do so and be a pillar of support for them both now and into the future. And speaking of support, certainly want to thank the first responders that day, men and women in uniform, for their support, and really everyone that day that showed their guidance during a tough time. Numerous player accounts and stories, and proud of those guys for the work they did and for the calmness they showed. So definitely wanted to start off by again sending our thoughts and prayers to those families. It's tough to transition now into football, but understand that's why we're here, and a lot to be proud and thankful for. 8 straight AFC West titles, 6 AFC championships, 4 Super Bowls in the last 6 years, 3 Super Bowl wins. So back-to-back titles hadn't been done in a while, and we're looking forward to going after that ever-elusive three-peat. And wouldn't be here without the outstanding leadership of Clark and the Hunt family, and Mark and his crew, our great players, our outstanding coaching staff, Ted Cruz. for his amazing job that he does all year. And my personnel staff, I can't thank them enough. I truly believe I have best group of scouts in the NFL. So looking forward to being here and starting this process, meeting with player agents and getting to know the new draft prospects and to meet them and interview them. So with that, I'll take your questions.
Right. Can you talk about how you assess the receiver position since retiring Coach Reid and how you will be assessing it this offseason?
I think much like any position, we're always looking to get better. And so, whether it be receiver, O-line, D-line, DBs, any opportunity we can to make our team better, we're gonna do that. And so we put a high priority on the depth in our roster, and so we'll attack that much like we do all the positions and try to get the very best players we can and go through our process. Every team's process is a little bit different and unique. We have ours, and there's always a chance to refine and tune things. But again, I think in this league, because of such a long season, I'm talking 20-game season, it's a marathon, and you have to attack every position and with the mindset of just having that depth, because it's not a matter of if but when players go down. Yeah, we did a lot of work on him, and that is, that's a good point. I mean, it's a little bit different in our offense. There's a lot of verbiage, a lot of dialogue. You're always going to have a coaching staff that puts a ton of pressure on young players to come in and perform. Our situation is a little unique where you have a coaching staff and a quarterback that puts a lot of pressure for the players to come in and perform right away. So credit to Reid. I mean, it just speaks to him and his resilience. It was a lot early on, and our coaches just did a great job of pacing him. I know early on you see the flashes and you want more and more and more, but there was a plan, there was a vision, and sometimes these things take time. Sometimes they don't happen as soon as you want. It takes some time, but with Reid, I think he was determined to make it happen this year and to keep working, and he did a great job. So certainly credit to him and the work he put in off the field with the playbook and with our coaches after practice. I mean, we're gonna, just like last year, with Chris and with LJ, with a lot of our players, we get a chance to meet the agents this week, and he's at the top of the list. Love Chris and tried really hard to get something done, and we didn't. But when we got together right after that Detroit game, we had a great talk, and both parties, I think, want to be here. So we'll get to work, and that's certainly a guy we want back and love and want to see him finish and end his career here in Kansas City. Well, I mean, I think our division, tremendous coaching. I mean, I think the first thing you think of is the outstanding coaching. And now 2 more great coaches hired in LA and Oakland. So I think the task is with these organizations is that they're smart organizations, they're tough organizations, and they're led by great coaches, and so they're going to have different ways to attack us. And I mean, we all saw last year what Vegas did to us Christmas Day, and we went on, I think, to win the rest of the game. So never an easy game, but I think we just have to be in the mindset of just control what we can control and just try to put this roster together and be the best version of ourselves. And I think when we just take care of what we need to do and just try to make our roster better and get better, improving from what we did last year. I don't think we ever chase anybody. We just try to be the best version of ourselves. So we'll continue to do that, but certainly a tough task in our division. Great teams, great rosters, great coaching staffs.
Brett, when you have 2 guys like Reid, marquee guys like that, is that place an urgency to get one deal done while you're negotiating simultaneously because they have one franchise tag?
Yeah, I mean, certainly. That's always a stress. You'd like to be able to tag all the guys and pay all the guys, and it's tough because the more you win, I mean, the more you got to pay players, and obviously when you have this amount of success, you're paying a lot of players a lot of money, and then it's equally as tough because you're drafting late. So there's challenges. We'll go through them, and we'll always put our best foot forward. Certainly want to do what we can to try to keep both those players, and that's going to be our goal and intent. Hopefully we're able to figure something out, but every free agency is different, unique, and crazy, and so, but we do have one tag, and I anticipate probably using it to help us, but I think our goal is to try to get both those players done and then work down the rest of our roster. Yeah, we'll get a chance to meet with him and his agent, Love McColl, and if there's an opportunity there that makes sense for him and us, I'm sure we wouldn't be opposed to going down that road. I mean, listen, when you have a guy that has played in this offense and understands all the verbiage, all the dialogues, all the play checks, I mean, that's why we didn't have a lot of ammunition to do much at the trade deadline last year. That one just kind of opened itself up where the price wasn't much, and our coaches knew him, he knew us, and it worked out. And I mean, thrilled for him for that last play. I mean, what a turn of events for him. But love McColl, and I'm sure we'll be in contact with him. I'm not a big reader, no. I watch the Netflix documentaries, and I'm a big documentary guy, so I don't read much, but I spend a lot of time just watching documentaries and trying to learn about historical events and things in the past. But Mike Bergonzi's the guy you want to talk to. He reads, every time I'm in his office, he's reading a book. So if you're wanting to talk books and talk reading, Mike Bergonzi's the guy. Yeah, we go through our process. That one was a long process there, and there was, I think, from our end, we attack this like we do every player that we add in our roster. We just go through the whole process and our entire intel and security team, and I think when that came through, it was a pretty much green light, and that it was an opportunity for him. Probably should have been in the league maybe sooner than what he was, but he had to go through that process, and looking forward to adding to the roster. But as far as the information in our process, there was no hold up there. Well, Brant's amazing. We're certainly going to miss Brant, and congratulations to him and his family and to the Panthers for that hire there. Brant, Chris Shea, that whole staff, and really Brant got ahead of that one early, and the key in this league is getting a quarterback, and then once you get him, it's securing him long term, and then having the ability to do things within the contract to allow and provide flexibility. Brant got on top of that early. He has a tremendous relationship with the agent community, does a great job, super smart. Going to miss him a lot. I haven't get a chance to see him yet, but I'm looking forward to catching up with him. But going to miss him. We have some big shoes to fill. Chris Shea and Jack Woloff, they'll do a great job. But again, Brant was on top of that Mahomes contract early and did a great job of guiding the organization through that.
Last question.
I think, in some ways there is the benefit of, I think if you get close in negotiations, I think you get the added benefit of the ties go to the Chiefs, because I think if all things were equal, it is a money deal at the end of the day, and people aren't going to turn down a huge discrepancy in contracts. But I think we get the benefit of breaking all ties, so I think that's a huge benefit. And on the flip side, there's a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety in every offseason, because you have small windows and you don't have the ability to make a ton of mistakes. Your margin for error is razor thin, so you got to be good on your draft picks, and you got to be good on your free agency guys that come in here. They have to play, they have to produce right away, because you don't have a ton in regards to excess picks or excess money.
All right, guys, there's Brett Veach talking to you. Honestly, right now, we're kind of doing a lot of things, getting a show together for you, talking about L'Jarius Sneed that we're going to put out pretty much right away, as there is a situation where he is either going to be franchise tagged by the Chiefs and then traded, or he will be franchise tagged and extended by the Chiefs. Either way, they're going to win at this, so that's a big thing right there. By the way, Tex, that's going to be on the second segment too, so make sure it's changed on there. Okay. So, anyway, let me go. But anyways, guys, we're putting together a nice show for you. We're going to have that coming out here in just a moment. So we're trying to make sure everything's already. But while you're here, ask us some questions. Let us know what's going on here. Yeah, that works. Hayden Shepard says, tag and trade Sneed for a pick in first round and draft Cooley McKinstry. I mean, at this point, it kind of seems like that's going to work. Where we're gonna franchise tag him and they could trade him. Either way, the Chiefs are going to win because like you franchise tag, you trade him, you're going to get around a second round pick, or you franchise tag him to keep him next year. And honestly, the Chiefs had told Snead like, hey, it's up to you. Like if you go find a suitor and you want to go there, we'll trade you. But otherwise, we're going to franchise tag you, and that's how it is. So I'm pretty confident that that's going to mean Chris Jones is going to stay. So we can actually throw that at the back part of the show. Kind of nice here. Let me go back over here. Bang. Yeah. That works. What do you want to do with Snead, bro? By the way, these are all built right here. Just need to move them up. Which one? Oh, that yeah, that one's not there. All right, we can get the 12 right here. And then we'll put a weigh in right here. Lots of things. Lots of things happening right now. Everybody's saying tag Snead. So here's the thing. He's going to be franchise tagged. That's what's going to happen. It's from there, is he going to get tagged and traded, or is he going to get tagged and extended? Now it's not about if he's going to get franchise tagged or not. He's going to get franchise tagged. But now, after they franchise tag him, they're going to reach a long-term extension, or they're going to trade him away. So do you want to trade him or do you want to extend him? I think that's probably the question. Trade or extend Mr. Actually, let's do this. I changed one of the wings at the top right there. Yeah, this one right here. They have extend from Tony Fuentes. The tag would cost $19.1 million. $19.8 million would be the cost of franchise tagging L'Jarius Sneed. 19.8 would be the cost. So it's a lot. That works. And then we should have one of these made when I go throw away at the top over there. Just look up that in the Chiefs graphics on this weigh-in right here. And it should. No, the one that, my icon. This one. And we should have one, though. Lance says, I'd rather have $21 here. I mean, yeah, Demon. It's a nice shirt. I like it, too. It's a nice shirt, man. By the way, I'm sorry. We're kind of scrambling here to make sure we get this show out. L'Jarius Sneed has just been announced that he is going to be franchise tagged, whether he'll be a franchise tagged and extended or franchise tagged and then past that, traded away. So we'll have to see here. So that's kind of what we're getting going all over this place. So we're getting this video together right now for y'all. Yeah. Yep, that's perfect. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, I think we got everything basically ready. All right. Well, sorry this has kind of been a little chaotic right now. Literally, we went live and got showed that. So here we are. Here we are. It's like, anyways. All right. Sweet. We're about ready to get going here. We got the show finally put up here. Yeah. Like I said, I feel like we can get it done as soon as we just need to expedite it. Expedite. Trading L'Jarius Sneed, man. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Crazy, crazy, guys. This is what live breaking news feels like. I thumbs down the video because I want to trade him. Well, we don't know that, man. We can't control that. Oh man, I wouldn't mind trading Sneed. Listen, I love Sneed and McDuffie, but like McDuffie's good. Like you got McDuffie in here, like you don't really need L'Jarius Sneed in some facets. So crazy. I don't know. If you get a second round pick out of L'Jarius Sneed, I'm not gonna like be mad about it. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Man, all right. Yeah, breaking news here. Crazy times. Crazy times. I want the Chiefs to trade Sneed and draft Kool-Aid McKinstry. That'd be nice. Hey, Demon Angels, more questions the better, man. We appreciate it. Everybody get in there, hashtag Chiefs, get the questions in. We're going to have the mailbag coming up. We're going to have a Sneed show now, all of a sudden. So that's nice. We're going to push this out here in just a moment. Definitely a first round with us in the NFL. Yeah, it's hard. I definitely think he could be worth a first round pick, but honestly, what would make the most sense? Trade him to the Eagles, and you get a what's their pick, 26, whatever, 25. So, a couple of different options there. Eagles kind of makes the most sense, to be honest. I need cornerback help too. Don't worry, Lance. We're gonna do some. We got to get some graphics all together, man. We need a Sneed. Also breaking news, Taylor Swift baked homemade Pop-Tarts for the Chiefs' offensive line, and they didn't share them with Andy Reid. All right, okay. I think the Eagles would be probably the best pick here. Make sure you're hitting that like button. We got breaking news all right here. You're seeing us live, kind of getting everything ready for y'all. This is what happens behind the scenes when we're just kind of getting stuff away here, fixing everything, making sure everything is right and ready. As L'Jarius Sneed is all that. Nice news. Yeah, hey, man. News is news. We cover it all here on the Chiefs Report. So we cover everything. Oh, boy. Chulling. I'd rather have Mitchell. Adonai, yeah. Correct, but here's the thing. He said Mitchell, but I was more or less saying Adonai. No. He said Mitchell, and I was like, oh, so Adonai. A.D. Mitchell is what I mean. Some dude next to him is busting his ass in Photoshop right now. Yep. Not in Photoshop, but yes. but yeah, correct. To my right, just absolutely busting. Tyreek breaking news. You mean Sneed breaking news. Yeah, we're busting stuff over here, though. I'm telling you that. We're getting stuff all ready to go. Like Sneed, prefer Chris Jones. That's the thing. Like, Chris Jones is going to cost a lot. I think I'd rather trade away Sneed and have more money to spend on, like, Mike Evans. Something like that. Heard the Falcons want him as well. We can definitely get that pick high. It's higher. Yeah, Falcons would be a freaking high trade, though. Tyreek got another assault charge. Are we sure about that? Our first round and Sneed for Titans pick in a third. That wouldn't be bad. You get the 7th round. You get the 7th overall pick. You taking Malik Neighbors or Romo Dunze at pick 7? Wouldn't be bad, man. Wouldn't be bad. We'll see. One of the best quarterbacks in the league, so that'd be kind of awesome. All right. Ready to go, guys? If you're ready, hit that like button because we got everything ready. The guy busting his ass on whatever it was over there is ready. Imagine Neighbors and Rice. Yeah. Tyreek assaulted too. Okay. If you're ready for this breaking news to start, hit that like button. Crazy times. Brother man. Yes, sir. Chiefs Kingdom, we have breaking news surrounding L'Jarius Sneed as the Chiefs announce they are prepared to franchise tag him. Now, what exactly does that mean? We're going to break that all down right here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports because when breaking news happens, we got you covered. We got the report from Jeremy Fowler saying the Chiefs have informed L'Jarius Sneed they are prepared to use the franchise tag and are open to consummate a trade off it if no long-term deal is reached per source. Sneed is agreeable to the scenario, giving him a chance to talk with other teams while Kansas City remains in play. So kind of all this means is there's going to be one of two things happening. They're going to trade him, after the franchise tag, or they're going to extend him after the franchise tag. We're going to talk about both options, what would it mean for the Chiefs, what they could get in a trade for L'Jarius Sneed, and ultimately how this all intertwines to encapsulate Chris Jones and his contract situation, and why I think this is a step towards getting a contract done with Stone Cold Jones. But before that, this is exactly why you hit that subscribe button. Breaking news happens. We're in the studio. We're live right now. We're still putting out videos as quick as humanly possible. So hit that subscribe button right this second, because you're not going to regret it. Breaking news happens. We have you covered within the hour. Hit that sub button right now. I promise you, you're not going to regret it. You're going to join one of the fastest growing Chiefs communities on all of YouTube. All right, let's start with the first option, is that we will trade Sneed. Now, this would be on the franchise tag. So what would happen is the Chiefs would tag L'Jarius Sneed and then proceed to trade him to another franchise. So what would that mean? Basically, you get a pick out of him is kind of what the baseline would be. You're probably going to get a draft pick off L'Jarius Sneed if you do trade him. One name that has been popping up right off the top of my head was the Eagles. They're in need of some secondary help, especially in the cornerback area, and that would be a first-round pick. You'd keep your first-round pick. You would have 2 first-rounders run around the 25, 24 area, and then your 32nd overall pick. And boom, you have 2 first-round picks to potentially buff up your wide receiver room and hopefully just overall encapsulate your team as a lot bigger of a threat in, I think, a lot of different facets. So that's option one, is that the Chiefs will ultimately tag L'Jarius Sneed and then trade him to potentially the Eagles. I mean, even higher, they could trade him to, like, say, the Titans, the Falcons, up in the higher picks of the draft. I mean, L'Jarius Sneed, I think, is worth a pretty substantial pick. The second option, he will be franchise tagged and then extended. So what does that mean? Well, they're prepared to use the franchise tag. Now, that's going to be this year. But they also want to extend him to a long-term deal. That's what they want to do. The problem is, right now, the money doesn't exactly work. And so they'll franchise tag and extend him. Now, although this doesn't seem like the most likely option at this point, I think it's definitely worth talking, because the way he played this past season was really unlike any other cornerback in the National Football League. Completion percentage was less than 52%. He only allowed 406 yards. He had 0 touchdowns allowed in the regular season. 0 touchdowns, and just 1 in the postseason on an incredible pass in the divisional game against the Buffalo Bills. You see right there, 14 pass breakups in 16 games and 2 interceptions, along with this dude was allowing a QB rating of 55.9 when he was covering receivers like Tyreek Hill, like A.J. Brown, like DJ Moore. I mean, there was just wide receiver after wide receiver. He was absolutely locking down and ultimately taking control of them. Now, the thing that I think you have to remember here is that he was one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. There was only one problem, though. Trent McDuffie was also one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League. And so, is his value diminished by that? Is his value taken away from that? I think maybe just slightly, because obviously with Chris Jones, behind him you do have George Karlaftis, but he's not Chris Jones. Behind L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, I'm not going to lie, Trent McDuffie was the better quarterback in the Super Bowl this past season. So I honestly think in some ways it diminishes the value, at least on the Chiefs, for L'Jarius Sneed, which is why I think this tag and trade may be the option that both Kansas City and L'Jarius Sneed work out. I asked the question, though, are you wanting to trade L'Jarius Sneed, or are you wanting to extend him? Let me know what you would do in the comments section. Put on your little GM hat. You're Brett Veach right now. What are you doing? Are you trading for L'Jarius Sneed and getting him off your roster, getting a top pick? Or are you extending him to make sure he stays with the Kansas City Chiefs for the foreseeable future? I'll give you a quick second to go do that. All right, listen, L'Jarius Sneed was amazing this year, but he's been putting up stats like that for his entire career. You look over the past 4 seasons, he's just grown and grown and grown. 2022 was a pretty amazing year, 108 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 11 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. Obviously followed it up with an impressive season this year. This guy has been a top cornerback in the National Football League for the past couple years, and he should be valued and honestly presented like that in a lot of different facets in trades and extension talks and kind of everything all together. Now, coming up, I'm going to tell you what the franchise tag would cost, what his market value is, and kind of what I could see happening. But before that, going to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, and that is Prize Picks. You can get a $100 deposit match by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using the code CLNS on that first deposit match for you're going to get $100. Now, I know football season may be over, but the action on the floor is heating up, whether it's tournament season or the fight for playoff home court. There's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Get the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Now, I know everybody likes the hardwood, but I also love the diamond too. So I got my MLB season-long picks in, and here's 3 that I think you should tail me with. I got Ronald Acuna Jr., more than 37.5 season-long home runs. Mookie Betts, I got more on 32.5 season-long home runs. And then KB, Chris Bryant, had a spring training home run just yesterday. He plays in Coors Field. That atmosphere is thin. The ball is going to travel. He's going to get at least 20 bombs. I got the more on him. You can put these exact same picks in right now on Prize Picks. But obviously I know they got NBA, they got NHL, they got PGA, they got NASCAR, everything you can think of. Prize Picks has you covered. And if you're looking at some NBA games, obviously a lot of hype around that right now. Well, Prize Picks offers an injury insurance so that your entry stays in play even if one of your players gets injured. So, for NBA basketball games or college basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player projection won't count against you and the rest of your entry will stay alive. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use the code CLNS for that first deposit match of up to $100. That link will be in the comments and the description of this video. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, here's what Sneed would happen. He's either going to get tagged and extended or tagged and traded. Right now, Spotrac has Sneed's market value around $16.3 million per year. A franchise tag for a quarterback would be set at $19.8 million per year. Obviously, you can see the Chiefs are willing to spend some money on this guy, but I think they'd rather at this point probably tag him and then trade him. So, how exactly does this help the Chiefs? Well, pretty much either way, they win. And I'll tell you this kind of why. If you sign him on the franchise tag and then extend him, you have a top-tier cornerback on your roster for, in theory, the next 4 or 5 years. If you franchise tag and trade him, you're going to get at least a second-round pick. And why do I say at least a second-round pick? Well, this comes from Nate Taylor, who had the report talking about L'Jarius Sneed, kind of the same thing, just multiple sources talking about L'Jarius Sneed. But he had this note that I wanted to include. In 2019, D Ford was traded to the 49ers for a second-round pick. This is a similar situation, franchise tagged and traded. 49ers gave them a second-round pick. L'Jarius Sneed is better than D Ford. So, what would you get for him? I think you could potentially get a first-round pick. Now, it may be a later first-round pick. I don't think the Patriots are calling you up and saying, hey, we'll give you number 3 for Sneed. That's just not going to happen. But I could say probably around pick 24 and up. Maybe 20s, low 20s could be an option. If you traded away your pick as well, say 32 and Sneed, you could potentially get a higher draft pick, maybe closer to the top 10. I think there's going to be a lot of other things that have to go around with this in contract basis and how much money the team that you're trading to has in cap space. There's a lot of intangibles with that. The one intangible that is kind of separate from all this is Chris Jones, though. And so with this kind of, I guess, I don't want to call that a new thing because we kind of had the idea that L'Jarius Sneed was potentially going to be tagged by the Kansas City Chiefs. But now that it's kind of official, where does that sit with Chris Jones? Well, to me, I think it means the deal is done. I think it means that he is going to come back to Kansas City on a contract somewhere around 4 years and $118 million. That's around what I have him as. That's a yearly contract of $29.5 million, making him one of the highest paid interior defensive linemen in the National Football League. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean right now, right here, they're going to go sign Chris Jones just because this report came out. No, but I do think it means that the #1 priority is placed on Chris Jones, and that is an obvious thing throughout the entire organization. We heard from Brett Veach earlier today at the Combine say that Chris Jones is the guy we want. He is #1, and L'Jarius Sneed is #2. These are the top 2 priorities. But obviously, with the cap space, it's going to be tough to try and get both of them worked out, even with cutting MVS, even with restructuring Mahomes' contract, even with restructuring Jawan Taylor's contract. You're still going to have some trouble making money and having the ability to grow this team just from this here. And so I know that I'm pretty confident about Chris Jones re-signing with the Chiefs now, but what's your confidence level sitting at with Chris Jones? On a scale from 1 through 10, 1 being the most confident, 10 being the most confident, or excuse me, 1 being the least confident, 10 being the most confident, how confident are you in Chris Jones potentially signing again with the Kansas City Chiefs? Get down in the comment section and let me know. All right, here's the thing. Stone Cold Jones is obviously your first priority, so you have to pay him like it. The contract you would give him would be around $29.5 million, which, again, is why I think that the Chiefs are saying we're going to franchise tag you or we're going to tag and trade you because we need this space for Chris Jones. If you can find somebody that will help us out, that's cool. We'll give it to you. We're going to work that out. But ultimately, this is our plan, and now we have to stick to it knowing that Chris Jones is the number one guy on our roster. And it's fair because this year, he was one of, if not the best players on the defensive line in the entire NFL, and honestly, was the leader of the Chiefs' defense even though he missed the first game. 10.5 sacks, 30 tackles, 4 pass breakups, PFF grade north of 80. This guy played amazing, and he didn't miss a beat even after missing that first game of the season. And honestly, watching the Super Bowl, watching the way that he overall just kind of commanded and controlled the defense, I said this in a couple shorts, so make sure you're watching those, but he just has that, I guess, presence of a leader. He has that, and in some ways, a vibe of, I am going to be the one to help lead us. Whenever something was wrong, whenever something was happening, he was always there to make sure the team kept their heads on straight and was able to ultimately win the Super Bowl in my mind. I think he really got the defense to kind of get their mind straight and hopefully kind of get them to a point where they can go and now grow themselves. L'Jarius Sneed, he's not big on talking. He's more of a quieter guy, which isn't a bad thing. I think cornerbacks should be quieter. But at the same time, when you're talking about importance to the team overall, it has to be Chris Jones over L'Jarius Sneed. And I think that's why this franchise tag and trade could be the way that it happens. Crazy things have happened, but we will see what's to come. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button because if a trade happens, guess what? Just like we had this report, we're going to have it out to you ultimately, pretty much immediately, to be honest. So make sure you're hitting that sub button. We got the best coverage on all of YouTube on the Kansas City Chiefs right here. As always, Chiefs Kingdom, we really appreciate you watching this video. Breaking news never stops and never sleeps for us. We appreciate you and peace out. Nice. You want to message your message, Nick? Yeah. Sweet. Crazy times, guys. Ugh. Jones is not staying just yet. Not just yet. Ugh. Yeah, now the Chiefs probably draft a corner in the first round. If they get 2 first-round picks, they're probably drafting a cornerback and then a wide receiver. Oh. Chiefs video tomorrow. Mock draft trading L'Jarius Sneed. Oh, yeah. Stay tuned. Oh, man. Cupcake corny. Yeah, I know, Suave. You just gotta ignore him. Dude's so bored he has to come on here and say stuff like that. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Dude's that much of a lowlife. Yeah, I do need to trade. I need to change some graphics. Literally, we're just gonna change that reveal to tag and trade instead of re-sign. We're going to do tag and trade. Yeah. It stinks. I love Sneed, but at the same time, the fact that they can do this, yeah, it's the way it goes. Correct. I was about to say, he's been here for 2 years, so he's gotten 2 rings. But my thing is, Trent McDuffie is just like, Trent McDuffie is so good. It almost diminishes the value of Sneed just because you have a top quarterback as your CB2. So, like, you could just have him as 1, go draft the cornerback in the first round. You get, yeah, it just, as much as it sucks, this is what winning looks like. Like, I hate to be honest, You have to make tough decisions. You have to freaking make like really, really tough decisions, and this is one of them. This is one of them. Let's put that weigh-in back in here. Sorry, hold on. I'm going through two different docs right here, man. Oh man, yeah, I got you. Here it is. Yeah, yeah. And then we could build a like hypothetical trade graphic here in a second. So we'll put this in here. Okay. There's one where my icon is. That's the way in. It should be built. We just need to move it there. You're good. Yeah. L'Jarius is L''J. All right. What's the 2024 draft pick for the Eagles? I have number 22. All right. All right. The potential trade is where my icon is. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yep. Which is better, franchise, extend, let go? I think it's better to tag him, trade him at this point, to be honest. Drafted Kool-Aid. So you got Kool-Aid at 22. Yeah, that's tomorrow's video, to be honest, is a mock draft of trading trading L'Jarius Sneed to the Eagles. Yikers. I'll probably post this video tomorrow morning. Yeah. What? Yeah. Still want to have that. Just because, like, he still talks about, like, everything. You'd make it green? What was it? I've had orange for all that. Mm. And then, okay, that's what we'll do. Okay, well, the mailbag will go out Saturday now, and this will go out tomorrow morning. Yep. Crazy, man. Yeah. The good news is thanks to Nick, as soon as we're done, like it's out. I don't have to worry about that. By the way, like my shirt? Pretty cool. It's a Yeti because he was asked at the Super Bowl. Travis Kelce was asked at the Super Bowl what your wrestler name would be, and he said, "Oh, the Big Yeti." And so, Big Yeti. Nice shirt. Yeah. Well, it'd be this year's first round pick, which would be round 1, pick 22 though. So do 2024. Yeah. Yeah. That works. That works. Yeah. Oh man. Been a wild thing. You're good. If we trade Sneed and draft a corner and draft a receiver, do you think we can pick a receiver in free agency still? Well, that's the thing. If you do that, you could also sign a receiver because you're not paying L'Jarius Sneed anymore. Like you're trading the franchise tag away, so somebody else is probably going to pay a majority of that. Now you don't get a franchise tag anymore, but I mean, that's kind of the whole thing. You don't need him then. Brother, what's up, Ty-Man? We have breaking news here on the Chiefs, Ty-Man. So we've been crazy. We do have a mailbag coming up. Use hashtag Chiefs. I see Demon Angels getting another questions. Finally here, says Ty-Man. Yeah, you were a little late, man. What's up? What's up with that? What's up with that, man? Hayden, I don't know if we will. Yep. Is that the Eagles green? Looks so weird. Yeah. Do a L'Jarius Sneed and then CB and brother. Tony, we're gonna mailbag after all this is taken care of. Mail sack. It seems as Sneed is going to get extended. It's just a matter of a Chiefs because if they franchise tag him and send him away, that team will then extend him. Like you kind of have to. It was one that I did in the show prior. Yeah. I was about to say if you just have it ready, yeah. Crazy. What's up, Random Gaming? Yep, let's do it. Hold on. All right, let's do it. Chiefs Kingdom, on today's show, we're going to talk about the perfect free agent plan for the Kansas City Chiefs and breaking down all that the Chiefs could do to make sure that this free agency season is what exactly the Chiefs need to become the first ever team to three-peat in the Super Bowl era. But I will say this. Obviously, this offseason has been great so far with a couple of key extensions for the coaches, but now it's time to get the players in check as well. So if you want the Chiefs to have a great offseason, well, then like the video. And I'm telling you, don't be the one to jinx it, because if you don't like the video and Chris Jones goes away and L'Jarius Sneed goes away and the Chiefs don't sign a wide receiver and there's other things that go wrong, I'm going to come looking for you, and I don't want to have to do that. So make sure you hit that like button. Super simple, super easy. Go down there, little thumbs up, click it, bang. You're not the jinx at all, and we'd certainly appreciate it. Let's get into this video with the first thing that the Chiefs need to do in this free agency period is re-signing Chris Jones. And I think this is the obvious choice in the way that Brett Veach kind of spoke about it in the NFL Combine press conference just yesterday, to be honest, was he wants Chris Jones to be on the Chiefs, and it seems as though Chris Jones also wants to be a part of Kansas City. Now, let's talk about cap space here and how this would all work with Chris Jones. Currently, the Chiefs' cap space is around $26.6 million. Now, if you restructure Mahomes and Jawan and cut MVS / Lucas Niang, you could get to around $60 million. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have actually seen that number earlier today. So make sure to do that and follow me there, right there at Jace Andrews _. And here's the thing. No matter what, you get $60 million, you're going to need to be efficient with it because Chris Jones is going to cost a pretty penny. Honestly, it's going to be one of the most expensive contracts in the NFL in terms of defensive linemen. How expensive? Well, here's kind of my contract suggestion. 4 years, $118 million. I've seen this floating around Twitter, and I kind of like it. It's $29.5 million per year all around. Obviously, you could include some signing bonuses to help that cap space be a little easier on the back end of that contract, or potentially on the front end, just depending on what Brett Veach wants to do. But either way, 4 years, $118 for Mr. Chris Jones. You could probably guarantee $60, $50 million of that and be pretty well off until the back end of that contract, have those last years be a little more strenuous in terms of a cap hit, but also you could, in theory, save some money by cutting him at that point if we get to there. Obviously, no thought of that right now because, well, he's playing well, but in 2 years down the line, things happen, things could change. So, obviously, let's talk about what this means and kind of how exactly the priority has to be in place. We heard from Brett Veach just yesterday at the NFL Combine that he wants to make sure that Chris Jones is the number one priority. He wants to make sure everybody knows that. And he wants to show that, listen, they want a deal done in terms of Chris Jones and his camp, but the Chiefs also want a deal done. They want to both be on the same page, and they want to pay Chris Jones what he's worth. And I think he's worth around $30 million a year, which is what this contract would be. Now, this year, he obviously missed that first game due to the holdout, yet still had 10.5 sacks. Obviously, the prior year had 15.5. This guy has been on an absolute tear. And honestly, he's just a leader. And in some ways, he's the centerpiece of this defense. He's the one that can rally the troops, is what I like to call it. He's the guy who can ultimately come to you and say, hey, we have to get this done. We have to be able to sit here and kind of put together a team and a group of people that can go into battle together and have a leader. And that leader is Chris Jones. And ultimately, as much as I love everybody else on this defense, there's one guy that really makes that motor hum, and it is going to be Chris Jones. The number 2 option here, and the number 2 thing, is to tag and trade L'Jarius Sneed. We obviously got the option or the report yesterday that the Chiefs are going to be in the way of trying to give away L'Jarius Sneed, a little tag and trade option. But I'm curious to kind of see your thoughts. Obviously, a couple of days prior, we were talking about we want Chris Jones, we want L'Jarius Sneed. So would you like to see the Chiefs try to re-sign both of these guys? If you would, type R for re-sign. If you don't want to see that, you want to see them tag and trade L'Jarius Sneed, but I want you to type P for pass. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let's talk L'Jarius Sneed here for a second. The guy was an absolute stud at cornerback this year, and honestly was overall maybe the best cornerback in the National Football League. 51.9% on the completion percentage, only allowed 406 yards in the regular season and no touchdowns. QB rating less than 56, and he broke up 14 passes while intercepting 2. And if you look at this and think, man, this guy had a really good year, but it stinks he wasn't like that his entire career, you'd be wrong, because he's been like that pretty much the entire time he's been with the Chiefs. The past 4 seasons have been impeccable. 9 games played back in 2020, still had 7 pass breakups and 3 interceptions. Obviously, the past 3 years, dude's been impeccable, having at least 2 interceptions. He had back-to-back years of double digits in terms of pass breakups. And ultimately, this guy has really prepared himself to grow in this league and become a top cornerback and honestly take over for that Jalen Ramsey type of feel to him. The thing that I want to sit here and talk to you about, and the reason why I say they should tag and trade him, it's because that Sneed was one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. I'm not going to sit here in front. I think he was one of the best. The only problem, Trent McDuffie was probably the second best in the National League, and his PFF grade was higher than L'Jarius Sneed's. So I think it may be worth it to just tag and trade him. You're going to get a pick out of it. You're not going to have to worry about too much cap space hit. You have a chance to go sign a receiver. You're probably going to get 2 first-round draft picks. Now, just for kind of a comparison here, we've seen people like this situation get tagged and traded for second-round picks. Given L'Jarius Sneed's kind of, I guess, overall ability and the way he carries himself and honestly the prowess of him, I think he may be worth a first-round pick. So, The team that I've been hearing is the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's a potential trade that I could definitely see going down. The Chiefs would take the Eagles' first-round pick, which was number 22 of this year in 2024, and the Eagles would get L'Jarius Sneed after he was franchise tagged and then traded over to them. I think this trade would work. Overall, you're getting yourself a second first-round pick. You could potentially draft a cornerback in that slot. You'll still have time to draft a wide receiver in what is a very deep wide receiver class because you have a bunch of really good options post this. And then on top of which, you have money to go sign a guy like Mike Evans, like Michael Pittman Jr., like Calvin Ridley, Curtis Samuel, Darnell Mooney, whoever it may be. There's a lot of people you can go out there and get if you have that extra money lying around and you have an extra pick to go get a cornerback. And your cornerbacks have been great. I mean, I'll be honest, Trent McDuffie was great. You have Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, who could also play in that cornerback slot. Your safeties are in a pretty good area, too. You could potentially kind of move some stuff around there. Ultimately, I think in a lot of ways, there's things to talk about that just have really propelled this to be a tag and trade scenario. The funny thing is, just yesterday, Brett Veach was actually talking to the media and brought up the fact about L'Jarius Sneed and Chris Jones, wanting them to both be in Kansas City, and now we're at this situation. Here's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. That's always a stress. You'd like to be able to tag all the guys and pay all the guys, and it's tough because the more you win, I mean, the more you got to pay players, and obviously when you have this amount of success, you're paying a lot of players a lot of money, and then it's equally as tough because you're drafting late. So there's challenges. We'll go through them, and we'll always put our best foot forward. Certainly want to do what we can to try to keep both those players, and that's going to be our goal and intent. Hopefully we're able to figure something out, but every free agency is different, unique, and crazy. And so, but we do have one tag, and I anticipate probably using it to help us, but I think our goal is to try to get both those players done and then work down the rest of our roster.
I could easily see the franchise tag being applied to L'Jarius Sneed. I think that's what ultimately is going to happen at this point. But it's the matter of if they will extend him or if they will trade him at this point. And I think the latter is starting to come through after the report we get yesterday saying that it seems as though the Chiefs are open to trading him. Before we move on in the show, make sure you check out one of our amazing sponsors, Prize Picks. You can get a $100 deposit match by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using the code CLNS. Now, Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and they're the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. Now, check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS, and using the code CLNS, you're going to get that first deposit match up to $100. Right now, you can put in your MLB season-long totals. Spring training just underway. You're getting the first view of these guys, so you can be able to kind of get ahead of the schedule. And I'm telling you, put these 3 entries right here in, you're going to make some money off. But got Ronald Acuna Jr., more than 37.5 season-long home runs. Mookie Betts, more than 32.5 season-long home runs. And KB, Chris Bryant, and Coors Field, that thin atmosphere, I've got the more than 19.5 season-long home runs. Testing my skills on Prize Picks, honestly, throughout the football season, now into NBA season, NHL, and now going into MLB, it's been really, really exciting. I got to be honest. And if you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts a select player projection up to 25% to provide even more value. Now, quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and the enormous selection of players and stat types. Well, that's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using the code CLNS. That's how you're going to get that first deposit match up to $100. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. We're going to put that links in the comments and the description of this video. Let's move on here with a third thing in the perfect free agency plan. Obviously, you tagged and traded L'Jarius Sneed. You re-signed Chris Jones. You have some money. So let's sign a wide receiver. Now, who exactly should the Chiefs sign? Well, they have a plethora of options. Here are the top 10, in my mind, wide receiver free agents. You got Mike Evans, Odell Beckham Jr., Michael Pittman Jr., Calvin Ridley, Gabe Davis, Marquise Brown, Darnell Mooney, Noah Brown, Tyler Boyd, and KJ Osborne. I know yesterday's video, we actually talked about the guys on the right, Marquise Brown, Darnell Mooney, Noah Brown, Tyler Boyd, and KJ Osborne. But I think we should kind of give my top 3 and kind of what exactly I would see best fit for the Chiefs and their scenario that they are now in. The first option to me is Calvin Ridley. And why I say Calvin Ridley, because he has really good upside. And ultimately, This dude had a 1,000-yard season very quietly. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. I'm not going to say that it was not a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but overall, this guy performed well, and yet people honestly didn't think they saw what they expected of him. The way he performed in the preseason and in training, guess what? That dude was projected to have like 1,400 yards. No Chiefs receiver, by the way, had 1,000 yards this season. Even Rashee Rice, even Travis Kelce. Calvin Ridley did it last year. I think ultimately he has a really, really high upside. Plus, he's pretty cheap. Overall, you're not going to have to break the bank for him. And he's going to be a receiver that you could sign to a couple-year deal. He fits the Chiefs molding, too. Like, he fits a Marquez Valdez-Scantling type signing. He fits a Juju Smith-Schuster. He's not going to be a guy that you're putting on labels everywhere, but he's a top guy that you could see potentially making some noise in the NFL. The second guy is Darnell Mooney, and honestly, his past season and past 2 seasons are not indicative of what I think he is able to do. But go back to 2021, where he played the full season. He was a 1,000-yard receiver. DJ Moore was not in front of him, and he had an average of 13 and 4 touchdowns. By the way, that was when Allen Robinson was still there, so he was kind of behind him at the first part of that season as well. Darnell Mooney has honestly never really had his chance to shine. He's always been the secondary option, and while I think he would still be that in Kansas City, I don't think it would be a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 situation. It's not going to be, it's obviously Rashee Rice, wide receiver 1, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 2. I think it'd be a wide receiver 1A and wide receiver 1B, because that's just kind of the way I see Darnell Mooney fitting into this system. Now, honestly, given he's had some bad years, he would be pretty cheap too. I mean, not even 500 yards in the past 2 seasons is something to note in terms of contract. But the guy that I think I like the most, Curtis Samuel. 9.9 on the average. His yards are just north of 600. 62 receptions, though, and 4 touchdowns. This guy's hands were very, very reliable. And why he may be one of my favorite ones here? Well, he's kind of a Deebo Samuel type guy. I like to call him like the Dollar General version. He is able to run these gadget type plays. He is one of those guys that can run under routes. He can go deep. He's very versatile, similar to what Rashee Rice is in a lot of facets, but also I think a good kind of mix to him and somewhat of what Kadarius Toney should have been, if that makes any sense. And so I think he could fit into the system really, really well. His market value is just north of $10 million too, which if you're tagging and trading L'Jarius Sneed, you've got a lot of money to go spend on that while also retaining a lot of your other assets that you had from Super Bowl 58. So I think it'd be a very good option. Now, I'm not just going to sit here and say my opinion is gold and you should accept it. I want yours. I want you to chime in. So pick a wide receiver that you would like the Chiefs to have in 2024. Is it Calvin Ridley? And I want you to type R. Is it Darnell Mooney? And I want you to type M. Or is it Curtis Samuel? And I want you to type S. Let me know in the comment section down below. All right, let's go to another one here. The fourth is to re-sign a running back. And why I say running back and not a specific one is because ultimately I don't know if it really matters who the Chiefs sign, if it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire or if it's Jerick McKinnon. But we're going to talk about both of them maybe real quick. Let's start with the former first-round pick, CEH, who since coming into the league as a first-round pick has seen his production slowly decline every single year. His average yards were at 4.4, then 4.3, then 4.3, then 3.2. His yardage went down every year. His carries went down every year, even just by 1 this past year. Ultimately, it's not what a first-round pick should be doing just 4 years into his career. And that's why I think it's hard when you pick running backs. Although he was late in the first round, it's hard to just sit here and make sense of picking somebody that is not going to be that big of a difference if your offensive line isn't good. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco was 11 picks before Brock Purdy in the 7th round. And this guy has been one of the, in my mind, one of the better rookie running backs we've seen in the past decade or so. So I just don't know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be worth that much. Now, at the same time, he's also contract-wise going to be worth not a lot. Now, Jerick McKinnon, though, I think this is the more important situation. He played with the Niners back in 2020, but then his past 3 years with the Chiefs, they've been pretty productive. Over 107 yards back in 2021 and receiving 512 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns in 2022. That was his year that he really, really showed out. And if you're a fantasy football type guy, he won you some football leagues, I'll tell you that. I think this is probably where I maybe lean McKinnon, but ultimately I just want to get one of these guys back. You could be able to draft a running back in the draft in the later part of the round. I mean, we saw that with Isaiah Pacheco. Guy worked out great, and he's a 7th-round pick. You just sign back one, Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Jerick McKinnon. I'd probably lean Jerick just because of his receiving bonus, but Clyde can also receive pretty well. Either way, I think you get either one on the back. I wouldn't rule out getting both of them back and then just not drafting a running back, but I think in some ways I'd rather not re-sign Clyde, let him go get a fresh start, and then kind of get an extra 4 years of control on somebody else who could potentially be a long-term backup. And I mean, I'm obviously don't know what could happen. Potentially maybe jump up to a second-string guy. Who knows what's going to happen? Pacheco, maybe 4 years down the line, we have a starter in our hands from this year's draft. The last one is to re-sign Drue Tranquill. And now this is a lot easier with a tag and trade of L'Jarius Sneed if that ultimately does happen because, well, he's not going to be expensive, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he's just going to be like dog water cheap. This guy was really good in 2024, or 2023 rather. 16 games, 77.5 completion percentage. His yards were less than him. But ultimately, I think the thing that we have to look at here as a linebacker, he was all over the field. He was really ultimately just... He had a knack for being around the ball. And that's what you have to look back into a linebacker. In some ways, I think he may have been one of the most underrated signings in the NFL last year, which is why now you have to keep him in Kansas City. Plus, his interview at the parade, I just cannot get over him saying Big Red, T Swift, and the boys came and got him. Sign that boy back. I don't care what the contract is. Please sign him back. That guy is a legendary thing, and I hope that they are able to keep him. But, man, a lot of things that could happen in the next couple of weeks as the free agency period starts to come closer and closer. Do you like my Chiefs offseason moves? Well, then let me know. Give me a like on the video if you do. I'd really appreciate kind of giving me your feedback, and obviously the more likes, the more I know you're kind of on the same page with me, you're liking this, and you help me out. Also, get in the comment section, discuss it with me. I'm looking, I'm watching, I'm seeing everybody's comments, and hey, if there's something in there that I think is interesting, maybe we make a video on it. So don't think I'm never reading those. I'm always getting down there and making sure that I see that. But we appreciate you as always, Chiefs Kingdom. For now, peace out. Nice. Oh, that. Why does it go when I'm like right here? Where's that shining? Oh, I found it. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Yeah, I kind of figured it'd be. What kind of questions we got? Use hashtag Chiefs. Oh, sweet. Please re-sign Drue Tranquill and give him a stay-at-home bonus. It's fine. Number one, Demon Angels? Number one would be freaking Justin Jefferson. But unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. Tag and trade to the Vikings for Justin Jefferson? Who says no? Who says no? Definitely not their GM, because he definitely denounced everything that I have to say. Mm-hmm. Use those hashtag Chiefs. Get in some questions. Adam says we need a wide receiver. We do. We do. Ooh, Oblique's got a good question. What other position should we be looking for in the offseason? Quarterback. If you're going to get rid of L'Jarius, you need quarterback. Hashtag Chiefs, get rid of Harrison. Harrison hasn't been on this channel in like 7 months. Tag and trade him to the Eagles for Devontae Smith. I don't think they're going to get a player out of him. Mine would have been Mike Evans. I like him. Any chance Kansas City can get rid of Taylor? Probably not. I'd say draft for quarterback free agent in terms of quarterback. That's my opinion, though. Sick. Oh, that works. Chiefs Kingdom, it's my favorite time of the week getting to talk Chiefs with you. We really appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Chiefs Report. I'm your host, Jace Andrews, and on today's show, guess what? We're going to be answering your questions. And if you want to know how to get on a show, how do I be here? How do I answer some questions? Well, guess what? You can join us on our live shows at 3 p.m. Central Time. We're going live. We're having questions and answers all the time on the Chiefs Report. Let's get into the first question here from Obliqua Singh. Hashtag Chiefs. What other position should we be looking for in the offseason? So obviously, I'm assuming you're saying besides wide receiver, which is the obvious first choice. A couple of different things, honestly. I think one is probably offensive line, just because Donovan Smith, I would highly doubt is going to be re-signed. And although the Chiefs do like Wanya Morris, I would appreciate having a full protection on that side, because that way with Jawan Taylor and his penalties, it'd be a little easier to kind of substantially protect Patrick Mahomes. Past that, honestly, I want to see a cornerback. The safety room seems pretty well endowed if you re-sign Mike Edwards, because then your safety room is Brian Cook, Mike Edwards. If you keep Justin Reid, and then Shamar O'Connor. Where your cornerback room, if you tag and trade L'Jarius Sneed, becomes quickly Trent McDuffie, and then behind him, it's going to be Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams, which I know they're great. I'm not going to sit here and denounce them at all. I think they're both great. I would just like to have a little bit more depth in that cornerback room. So probably offensive line and cornerback would be the other ones I'm looking at, but majoritarily an offensive tackle and a cornerback. Mike Nintendo Master says, who would you sign me for Mike Evans, Michael Pittman, or Hollywood Brown? So I would probably lean... I like Michael Pittman Jr. in this list. As much as I love Mike Evans, and I think he would be a perfect fit in Kansas City for the way he plays, I would rather have somebody who's a little bit younger, and Michael Pittman Jr. is that. He's got less of an injury history in terms of some other free agents, not saying Mike Evans, but he's not been injured too much in his career. Hollywood Brown would be great in terms of speed, but he's never really gotten to where he's proven himself. He's had these great long-standing long catches and receptions, but never really like a full season. I'm just like, all right, you've been a good receiver all year. You've just had some great moments. That's what's happened. Michael Pittman Jr. has had 2 back-to-back years of 1,000 yards where he's looked really, really good. I would love to see him in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. Back-to-back saying, is there any way the Chiefs could trade for Justin Jefferson? There's always a way. I think the way behind it would be a bit tricky, but here's the thing. The GM for the Vikings came out at the NFL Combine a couple days ago and talked about this, saying that I never said this. I never had the reports. We're not going to trade Justin Jefferson, all this stuff. But I think that is really just publicity. You're not going to go up in front of the media and say, oh, yeah, we're going to plan on trading our all-pro amazing wide receiver who's not even in his 4th or 5th year. Like, that's just, you're not going to say that to the media. I think there's a way. I think it would cost probably the Chiefs. Okay, wild thought here. You tag and trade L'Jarius Sneed to the Eagles. You have pick 22, 32. What if you traded pick 22, pick 32, and next year's first-round pick for Justin Jefferson? It's a lot. You're going to have to trade the farm, but that's what Justin Jefferson is worth ultimately, and I think that it could work out, but I don't know if that trade is exactly going to be accepted by Brett Veach in terms of monetary value and making this team a winner for the long run, not just next year. Who is your favorite non-Chiefs player in the NFL right now, though? Obviously, we've talked about a lot of players that we want to see on the Chiefs, but who's somebody that's not playing for Kansas City right now that you say, you know what, I love to watch him, and I wish he was a Chief, but listen, that's okay. I like to watch him on the team that he's on. Who's that? Get in the comment section. Let me know someone who's not on the Chiefs that you really, really like to watch. Hayden Shepard saying, do we bring Willie Gay Jr. back? Honestly, I think he could come back. Why? Because of the whole L'Jarius Sneed situation. I was pretty much under the stipulation that it was going to be getting L'Jarius Sneed and getting Chris Jones. The defense besides that would maybe get back Drew Tranquil and Mike Edwards. Everybody else, sayonara. Like that's what's going to happen. But now if you tag and trade L'Jarius Sneed, I think there is a way where you could sign back Willie Gay Jr. I don't think it's like the main possibility. I think that's like going to happen. I'm not going to put my money on that. But I think that is a potential thing to happen. We'll have to see, though, what exactly happens with the contracts. I haven't heard too much about the Chiefs bringing him back, but maybe they have some plans behind doors that we don't exactly know about. Shad Jameson says, do you think KC can extend both Humphrey and Smith? I think so. Creed, he's given up on that last year. Offensive lineman is going to cost a bit, but at the same time, they're going to sign team-friendly deals, if that makes sense in my mind. Creed Humphrey has already expressed that he wants to stay with the Chiefs for pretty much his entire career. Trey Smith is one that I'm confused about in some ways and also very confident about in other ways that he could be with the Kansas City Chiefs for the remaining future. I think they can both get extensions done, especially since the cap space next year could be even larger and financial freedom could be a little bit easier for Brett Veach. Now, I will say this, whatever happens, we got you covered because we have daily Chiefs news and rumors all right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. So hit that subscribe button and hit it today because guess what? That way when we post a video tomorrow, the next day, you're going to get right there. It's going to be on your feed. And if you want to go a step further, hit that little notification bell. You're going to get notifications when we post videos, when we're about to go live. Everything you need to know about the Chiefs will be right at your fingertips. So join us today. Also, join Prize Picks today because you can get a $100 deposit match by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and by using code CLNS. Now, Prize Picks is amazing because even though football season is over, the action on the hardwood is heating up. Whether it's tournament season or the fight for playoff home court, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Now, I know we all love the hardwood, but I'm a baseball guy at heart. I got the diamond in my mind 24/7. So, here's the 3 guys I'm putting on MLB's season-long totals. Ronald Acuna Jr., I got the more on 37.5 season-long home runs. Mookie Betts, 32.5 season-long home runs. I'm going more on that. And Chris Bryant, 19.5 season-long home runs. I'm going the more on that because, listen, in my mind, the more is always better. Less is stressful. That's what I'll say. But hey, either way you play it, it's super, super fun. You can get a $100 deposit match by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using the code CLNS. Prize Picks also offers a injury insurance policy. So if you're doing some NBA picks and your player gets injured in the first half and then does not return in the second half, that player's projection won't count against you and the rest of your entry will stay live. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. Well, that's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using the code CLNS, you're going to get that first deposit match of up to $100. Link is right there on the bottom of your screen. We're also going to put it in the comments and the description of this video. Let's go here with this next question. It says, Pat the new GOAT. Who's a free agent that you could see the Chiefs targeting that most people are not talking about? So, I think I've talked about this in a couple shows, but I don't think I've actually been able to, I don't want to say like give a full, I guess a full kind of a breakdown of him, but Tyron Smith, he's a lineman for the Cowboys, and ultimately he's going to be fitting in the tackle position. So, why this is an underrated type guy, Donovan Smith is going to leave you. And so Tyron Smith will be able to replace a Smith. Yeah, funny. And on top of which, he is a guy who has been an absolute brick wall for his entire career. He's been there for a long time, over 10 seasons in the National Football League. If he could sign with the Chiefs, and I've seen reports that the Chiefs could be targeting him, it would ultimately make this line probably 10 times better, even with just that one guy signing. Demon Angel says a restructure of Taylor's contract should definitely happen, no question about it. What do you think? Yeah, I'm pretty sure restructurement's going to happen. It's going to turn into a signing bonus. He'll still get that money, but I just don't think it's worth messing with other people, cutting other people when you can save around $12 million, $13 million last time I checked on restructuring his contract. So it makes sense. Just get that done, and you're able to right there, right then, save yourself some money and hopefully be able to sign some extra people. I mean, people are starting to get worried here because, listen, the Chiefs, they may have some money to spend and they just won the Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying. Michael Root with our last question saying, what do you think about letting go of MVS, Kadarius Toney, and signing Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard? I haven't heard of Tony Pollard. That's a new one. But I do like Calvin Ridley. I think MVS, it's tough. I understand that Mahomes likes him and his postseason greatness, I guess you could say, is good. But I just don't think it's worth it. Meanwhile, Calvin Ridley, though, that would be a good signing. I do like that part of your question. I think Calvin Ridley would be perfect for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's I'm not going to say upper-level wide receiver, but he's definitely, not in the C, D tier. He's a B tier type guy. Potential for A tier, S tier type type production. 1,000 yards this past season, and people didn't expect him to get that. And then remember, this was his first season playing in almost 2 years. So imagine a season under his belt now. I think he'll be a lot better. Plus, you put him on a team with Patrick Mahomes, that is going to go well. Tony Pollard, though, that's an interesting one because I don't know what the Chiefs' plans would be with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jerick McKinnon, because Tony is going to cost more money, and I don't think the Chiefs are willing to spend a lot of money on a backup running back. If they do, it would probably be Austin Eckler, to be honest, who would be around $4 million. He'd be a guy from the Chargers. You've signed somebody from the Chargers before. He's worked out, Drew Tranquil. So we'll have to see, though. But I love the question, man. I think that's good knowledge. And honestly, I love just talking ball with all y'all. So appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Hit that subscribe button, guys. As always, we really, really appreciate you hanging out with us. This has been an awesome, awesome, fun show. And if you want to get your questions in, we're live every Tuesday around 3 p.m. Central Time. Most of the time, right on 3 p.m. Sometimes when things go hectic, we go a little bit later. But besides the point, we're live right here, so hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and you'll be live with us on every single Tuesday. Peace out. All right. Good. Oh, yeah, perfect. We got it. Luca! What's up, Luca? Will we keep Dunlap? Dunlap isn't anymore. Do you think that someone would trade for T. Higgins? I think so. I don't think T. Higgins wants to be a Bengal. I got to be honest. I don't think he wants to be a Bengal. He just got franchise tagged. It's kind of like L'Jarius Sneed. Like, I think he wants to be a Chief, but I think he wants money more. So given he got franchise tag, he's like, well, I want money. Like, I don't want to be franchise tag. I want money. Fair. You earned it. So I'm not going to sit here and say you can't take it. But I could see the Titans trading for him. Could see a couple other teams doing it, but I don't know. We'll have to see if that happens. All right, see you, Tony. We're about to go here too, anyways, so I'm missing too much. But everybody, give a big shout out to Tex today, filling in for Sam, helping us out, especially helping us out and having live breaking news happen. So that's great. But anyways, all right. Well, I think we're about ready to go here on the Chiefs Report. So we appreciate all y'all watching. Crazy day. I know it's probably not exactly it's not our usual live show given what happened. But hey, we had a great time with y'all hanging out, almost an hour and a half. So we'll be live next Tuesday. We'll have some super chat deals to give away, some awesome stuff. So make sure you're hitting us up there. But for now, Chiefs Kingdom, we will see you next week. Peace out.